Hello, I'm Sunny Kima. Today we're talking about the Dulce Incident, the Colorado Plateau in the western United States. The Colorado Plateau is the most inhospitable area in the interior of the United States. The population is just under 3,000 in this town. Most of the residents work on the farm. So in such a small, unassuming place, there's a very famous urban legend. Over 40 years ago, there was a shooting in this area. And this shooting was very special. The two parties involved in the shooting, one of them was not from Earth. This urban legend is known as the Dulce Incident. It's near Nevada, which is home to the mysterious Area 51. New Mexico, where many UFO crashes have occurred. Arizona, where the Phoenix incident occurred. And here in the Archuleta Flat Tops, there's an unproven alien base. And in this base, there are aliens who have come to Earth. And they're performing inhumane human experiments. This base is Dulce Base. Dulce Base was exposed by a man, Phil Schneider, in a public speech in 1994. He claimed to be a geological engineer and contracted with the government to build what's known as the Dumbo Base, also known as deep underground military bases. According to Schneider, the project spans the eastern and western continents of the United States, with over 100 interconnected underground bases, all connected by high-speed underground trains. He was involved in an underground biological laboratory at Los Alamos. Los Alamos, near the Dulce site, in the same mountain range as Dulce. And at this construction site, there was a very strange military presence. Green Berets. The Green Berets are a special forces unit of the U.S. Army. They specialize in unconventional warfare. In August of 1979, Phil Schneider and his men emptied inside a mountain to build the underground facility for this biolab. They dug 4 holes in the early stages of construction, like giant tunnels, 4 kilometers below the surface. But when the digging equipment broke down, he went down with a group of Green Beret soldiers to check it out. What they didn't know at the time, that they had tunneled through another base, the top of Dulce's base. They rode a lift cage into one of the holes. Then they saw several alien creatures, about 2 meters tall. They could smell the stench from their bodies. He was carrying a gun. When he saw the creature, he fired instinctively, and the alien creatures returned fire. They used a weapon that emitted a blue beam, like a laser weapon. Schneider was hit. His fingers were sliced off in no time. There's no blood, and the wounds are neatly organized. It was as if the fingers had been vaporized. His whole body was smoking. He almost lost consciousness. Then he was rescued by a soldier. He was saved by a soldier in an elevator cage. He pushed the button to bring him back to the ground. The soldier didn't live to save him. And in this battle, 66 Special Forces soldiers died. 4 alien creatures died. And only 3 humans, including Schneider, only 3 survived. Schneider said he was hit by a radioactive substance. After the battle, he was hit by radioactive material. He developed a disease called aplastic anemia, and that he might not live long. And he said that if he died someday, and was told it was suicide, the government must have sent someone to kill him. And just over a year after he broke the news about Dulce Base, on January 19, 1996, he was found dead in his home. The cause of death given was exactly that. The cow slaughter was in the 1970s and 1980s. In the 1970s and 1980s, there were a number of cases in some states in the United States of cows and ewes being mutilated, usually eyeballs, tongues, lymph nodes, genitals. But the wounds on these cows and sheep were very strange. They didn't look like they'd been cut with a knife, because there's no blood on the wounds. It's very neat. Some people claim to have seen them at night. These sheep and cows were sucked up into the air, and then thrown down with a scream. and the state of Colorado is one of the most reported states for cattle slaughter. Dulce Base is located right on the New Mexico-Colorado border, on the border of New Mexico and Colorado. In 1967, a lady and her son had a pony named Lady, and their pony was found one day with its head skinned. There was no blood in the wound. They called the police. The police came to check it out. They reported it as a lightning strike. And since then, due to the increase in these incidents, Colorado Democratic Senator Floyd K. Haskell asked the FBI to investigate in 1975. He claimed that there were 8,000 cattle slaughters in Colorado alone. The investigation was conducted by FBI Special Agent Kenneth Rommel, an FBI agent, by the U.S. Law Enforcement Assistance Administration. Rommel issued his report in June 1976. In the first page of the introduction, he wrote, "It is estimated that in 1975, 10,000 head of cattle were mysteriously mutilated." Yet the report concluded that the mutilations were primarily human, and that the lack of blood around the wounds is due to a species of fly called blowflies. They secrete a mucus to stop the blood from the wound. But the report does recognize that some cases contained anomalies that could not be explained by conventional knowledge. At the time, a soldier named Voltz reported the discovery of a mutilated cow carcass in a field near the Dulce area. Voltz said he found a fetus inside the cow. He described it as looking like a cross between a man, a monkey, and a frog. It had no bones in its head. So why is the cattle slaughter in the United States are occurring in Colorado? Could this be an indication that there's an alien base in the area? And then they need a lot of animal parts for genetic experiments. Cattle slaughter has always been an unexplained phenomenon, and then faded into oblivion as an event of this type have greatly diminished since the 80s and 90s. Could this have anything to do with the fact that the Dulce base was shut down after a firefight with humans? There was a big development in 2011. There was another UFO conference. Thomas Castillo. He was a security officer at Dulce Base. He's a pretty high-ranking guy. His statement revealed why there were inconsistencies between Schneider's story and the cow slaughter. He proved it from a third party. What really happened? He said that this Dulce base is an underground base built by the U.S. itself. There are 7 floors in this base. He knows about 7 floors. His security clearance only goes up to the 7th floor. He doesn't know if there's more below it. Levels 1 through 4 are for human habitation. The U.S. military conducts experiments and research on them. Level 567 is where aliens live. People can't go in and out of these 2 levels. It is said that there are tens of thousands of aliens living on the 567th floor. In other words, the U.S. military and the aliens shared the Dulce base at the beginning, because they wanted to develop some high-tech weapons together. In exchange, the aliens were allowed to experiment on cows. As a result, in the 1970s, the aliens used more and more cows for experiments. They even started plundering people. It's said that at one point, thousands of people, mostly women, were taken. Most of them were women. They were kept on the 5th and 7th floors of this base. At this point, the U.S. government quit. They went to the aliens to negotiate. But the aliens didn't agree to return them. So the 2 sides broke up. After that, in August 1979, the U.S. government prepared a forced attack on the 5th and 7th floors to get those people back. There's only one passage between levels 1 to 4 and 5 to 7 of our base. It's too hard to get in through this place. So they put Schneider and his men outside. So they let Schneider and his men make a hole outside and go straight down to attack from the east. In fact, both sides went down at the same time. And Schneider's side is obviously less manned. So it was bait. That's why Schneider was so angry. He's been betrayed and he doesn't even know why. In the end, they attacked from Dulce Base. They did. But there were too many people inside. They didn't take out many and returned. Then both sides were blown up and there was no way to get in. That's why most of them couldn't be saved. So this Thomas, he came out to make up for it. It's a tripartite solution from 3 angles. That's why it's hell underground. Is Dulce's base under government supervision? Is it a base that cooperates with aliens under the supervision of the government? I believe that after watching this video, I'm sure you'll have some answers. We've been looking to the sky for answers. But we don't know that underneath our feet, the underground world holds many secrets. Maybe we need to look down to see what kind of world it really is.